Please welcome Governor of North Carolina, Governor Roy Cooper.
Hello, Fayetteville! Thanks for being here, and thanks for caring about the future of our country. North Carolina welcomes back Vice President Kamala Harris as she and President Biden get ready to defeat Donald Trump in November. Guys, this is the Vice President's 15th trip to the most military and veteran-friendly state in the country. I've known Kamala Harris for more than 12 years, going back to our days as state attorneys general together. I know she's a fighter. I know that she gets the job done. And I know that she and Joe Biden need 4 more years to finish the job. You know, this election is not just about what kind of president we want to have. This election is about what kind of country we want to be. Donald Trump's America is where the wealthy get the breaks and the working families get the shaft. Do we want Donald Trump's America? Donald Trump's America is where the end of Roe v. Wade is a great thing, and politicians police women's bodies. Do we want Donald Trump's America? Donald Trump's America is where it's easier to get an assault rifle than it is to get health care. Do we want Donald Trump's America? Donald Trump's America is where the president is a convicted felon, a chronic liar, and the king of chaos. Do we want Donald Trump's America? Folks, 4 years ago, we told Donald Trump, "You're fired." Now he wants his job back. No way. You know, Donald Trump threatens our democracy and wants to make history by installing himself as a dictator on day one. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will defend our democracy, and they'd rather make history with their extraordinary accomplishments for the American people. They actually passed a bipartisan infrastructure bill that Donald Trump only bragged about that he would do, but never did. Joe Biden increased health care coverage while Donald Trump tried to take it away. Joe Biden lowered the cost of prescription drugs and health care premiums. And in North Carolina, he helped us finally expand Medicaid. Now we have more than 500,000 North Carolinians enrolled in health insurance. But you know what? Donald Trump would snatch those health insurance cards right out of people's hands. We cannot let that happen. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing everything they can to protect and restore abortion rights because we ought to leave medicine to the doctors and the decisions to the women. But Donald Trump, he's not going to stop with overturning Roe v. Wade. He's already promised to do more if he gets the chance. And if you don't believe it, just look up Project 2025. My fellow North Carolinians, can we defeat Donald Trump at the ballot box? Can we defeat Donald Trump right here in North Carolina and deny him the presidency? Of course we can. And we must. So, here's your assignment. We're in a school. For the next 110 days, we have to be on the doors, on the phones, on social media, on top of our game to stop Donald Trump's dark vision of America and make sure that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can finish the job they started. Thank you, Fayetteville. Let's turn North Carolina blue for Biden. Thank you, thank you.
Please welcome Kelly Artis.
Good afternoon, Fayetteville. My name is Kelly Artis. My husband just commemorated 20 years in the United States Army. And our family is stationed here at Fort Liberty, and we are so proud to call North Carolina home. Today, I am honored to welcome Vice President Harris back to our great state. As a military spouse, I'm no stranger to sacrifice. Don't get me wrong, we love our country, and my husband is proud to serve. At the same time, deployments, relocations, and the realities of the lifestyle present families like mine with unique challenges. Joe Biden is a military father. He understands us. He lost a son because of a service-related illness. He understands the sacrifices families go through because he's lived it. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris believe that we have a sacred obligation to prepare, equip, and care for our troops, veterans, and their families. They are fighting to ensure that we don't have to sacrifice our stability to give our loved ones the support they need. Last year, President Biden came to Fort Liberty to announce historic steps to increase the economic security of military and veteran spouses, caregivers, and survivors. This administration's actions have helped create more opportunities for people like me to get secure, well-paid jobs. They've removed barriers to access affordable housing and the child care that we need. And across the board, they're fighting to lower costs for families and protect our freedoms. President Biden and Vice President Harris have delivered for families and changed the lives of military spouses and all of North Carolina communities for the better. I know, given another term, they'll keep fighting for us. The path to the White House runs through North Carolina. It's our turn to deliver for President Biden and Vice President Harris and send them back to the White House for 4 more years. Now please join me in welcoming our guest of honor back to North Carolina, the first woman Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Can we hear it for Kelly? Good afternoon, North Carolina. Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. And I want to thank Kelly for your work and for your family and all that you have given to our country in service. And it is so good to be back with so many incredible leaders. Including my dear friend Roy Cooper. You know, Roy and I served together when I was Attorney General of California, and he was Attorney General of North Carolina. I've known him for almost 2 decades, and he is an extraordinary leader. And I want to also thank the extraordinary leaders who are our service members and their families who are here with us this afternoon. Thank you all. You know, one of my greatest honors as Vice President is to meet with our service members around the world. I have met with our service members from NATO's Eastern Flank to the Korean DMZ, and from Arizona to Florida. And I will tell you what everybody here knows, all our service members possess an extraordinary skill, discipline, dedication, and love of country. And I know their families serve with equal dedication, and I thank you also. And I say everywhere I go around the world, we are so proud that the United States military is the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. Which is why President Biden and I are proud to have passed the PACT Act, the largest expansion of health care and benefits for veterans and military families and survivors, the largest benefit in decades. So thank you again, everyone here, and in particular our military members and your families, for the service and the dedication that you have shown. So today, we are 110 days out from the election. And while many of us have been involved with these elections for every 4 years practically, nearly every time we will say, this is the one. Well, this here is the one. The most existential, consequential, and important election of our lifetime. And there is so much at stake. Last night was the latest example. So some of you may have heard Donald Trump's running mate deliver remarks at the Republican National Convention. He talked about his life story about growing up in Southwest Ohio, and it was compelling. It's a compelling story. And it was not the full story. Frankly, what is very telling is what he did not talk about on that stage. He did not talk about Project 2025, their 900-page blueprint for a second Trump term. He did not talk about it because their plans are extreme and they are divisive. In recent days, they've been trying to portray themselves as the party of unity. But here's the thing. If you claim to stand for unity, you need to do more than just use the word. You cannot claim you stand for unity if you are pushing an agenda that deprives whole groups of Americans of basic freedoms, opportunity, and dignity. You cannot claim you stand for unity if you are intent on taking reproductive freedoms from the people of America and the women of America. Trying to ban abortion nationwide as they do and restrict access to IVF and contraception as their plan calls for. You cannot claim to be for unity if you try to overturn a free and fair election and threaten to terminate the United States Constitution. And you cannot claim to be for unity when your entire economic agenda is designed to prioritize billionaires and big corporations over the middle class. We're too busy watching what you're doing to hear what you're saying. And let us unpack that last point about the economy. This race can be boiled down to a single question. Who fights for you? Now, we know whose side our President Joe Biden is on. He grew up in a middle-class family in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he has never forgotten where he came from. And I have been a first-hand witness. With every decision he makes in the Oval Office, he thinks about how it will impact working Americans. He understands everyday struggles because he has actually lived them. So friends, I say the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is like night and day. But with the selection of his running mate this week, Donald Trump is also trying to distract people. He wants to direct attention away from his record and his Project 2025 plan to suggest that he and his running mate are going to prioritize the middle class. But we are not buying it. We are not falling for the okie doke. As many of you know, I am a former prosecutor. So I say, let's look at the facts, shall we? So Donald Trump tries to claim he brought back American manufacturing. The fact is, under Donald Trump, America lost tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs. And more than 1,000 factories closed under his watch. The facts. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden and I have created nearly 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. So much so it's been described as a manufacturing boom. Last night, we heard claims that Donald Trump is for fighting for our seniors. Well, how the heck can you claim you fight for seniors when you intend to cut Social Security and Medicare? Which we all know is a lifeline for so many of our seniors. Let me be very clear. President Joe Biden and I will always protect Social Security, and we will always protect Medicare. All while we continue to fight to lower the cost of prescription drugs for our seniors. It is President Biden and I that took on Big Pharma and finally capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. Who here has a family member with diabetes to know what that means? Right. But Donald Trump and his running mate intend to get rid of our $35 cap on insulin. They will side with Big Pharma and let them make prescription drugs more expensive. Not only that, on the issue of health care, they intend to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Donald Trump and his allies tried more than 60 times to end the Affordable Care Act, 60 times, to give insurance companies back the power to deny people with pre-existing conditions. Y'all remember what that was like? Children with asthma, women who had survived breast cancer, grandparents with diabetes. President Biden and I, on the other hand, have made the Affordable Care Act more strong. Because you see, we believe health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. Pull up the split screen. Whereas the last administration gave tax cuts to billionaires, we gave tax cuts to families through the child tax credit, which cut child poverty in America by half. And please do note, their Project 2025 agenda would even end Head Start, to take away preschool from hundreds of thousands of our children. On the issue of the cost of living, Donald Trump says he will implement a 10% tariff on all imported goods. Well, understand, independent economists agree his tariffs would increase the cost of everyday expenses for families, the cost of gas, groceries, and clothing. We, on the other hand, have taken on big pharma, the big banks, and big corporations to bring down costs. It is we who have canceled debt, including student loan debt. In fact, testify if you have received it. Indeed. In fact, so far we have forgiven student loan debt for nearly 5 million Americans. And twice as much for our public servants, including our teachers, our nurses, and our firefighters. You're welcome. We are also fighting to lower energy costs. We made historic investments in clean energy. Today, America has record energy production, and we are energy independent. But Trump wants to roll back our progress. Check this out. In fundraisers with big oil lobbyists, he wanted to trade clean energy investments that we made for you for a $1 billion campaign contribution he could get for himself. Understand motivation. So North Carolina, I think it is clear. If Donald Trump were to win in November, he will continue to sell out working families. He will continue to attack reproductive freedom, and he will continue to undermine our democracy. Ultimately, in this election, we each face a question. And herein lies our power. The question we face is, what kind of country do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate? We each have the power to answer this question. So today, then, I ask North Carolina, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight,